You are now tuned in to the Lineman Lounge, the world's thickest sports podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Evo.
Come on, Stein, bitches, and yeehaw, motherfuckers. This is the Lineman Lounge. I am Mike. That is Evo. We are coming to you live Sunday morning. Week 4 of the NFL is upon us, and I am out in the middle of beautiful Wyoming, staying at a cabin. I'm all decked out in the cowboy gear. My man, Evo, how you doing? Welcome in. It's beautiful out here. It's so early in the morning, but had to crack a beer. We got a big day of football. I got a lot of shit to do. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I am still a little bit nasally or congested almost with dust in the nose because I too went to a little bit of a cowboy style event last night. Went to a little bull riding, so I'll take a little bit of your shine for right now and pop the cowboy hat on as well.
There we go.
I'm not gonna do this for the entirety of the show because I can't steal your thunder completely. Also, there's not enough wet floor signs to go out there in the world for what you're looking at right now.
Sploosh.
The finest, thickest young cow pokes out there.
Goddamn right.
But look, I'm excited. We got week 4. We got a big rivalry game for me going on, so I'm
big
super
rivalry.
excited about that. But really looking forward to getting these picks. Hopefully, we start doing a little bit better, and hopefully, teams don't fuck me like Brandon Aubrey and the Cowboys did.
Yeah, first miss from 50 was dope for me. But you know what? Our picks have not been great. I don't have it all with me here. Obviously, I'm remote today. But the picks have not been good. We're 18-30, averaging 6-10 a week. That can't go on. That's not good. But we brought in some reinforcements. We brought somebody to help kind of bring some positivity to what the hell it is that we're doing. Because it's been bad. We've been struggling hard. This guy, one of the co-hosts of the Barking Brown Show, eternally optimistic and a fucking poet savant. Our guy, friend of the show, Nick Karnes. Let's bring him in. You got it, Evo? Thank you, brother.
Well, hey, how's it going?
Nick, how you doing, friend?
Yo, I'm glad to be back. This is not my first appearance here. When you asked me, I was excited. Woke up this morning to the Nick Chubb. Gonna open the practice window. Saw that and just you know what? It started the day on the right foot. I'm feeling good today. It's Sunday. That's all I know.
It's Sunday. Nick Chubb could possibly be returning in the near future. That practice window opens, coming off the PUP list soon. Oh man, we need Nick Chubb back. We need a lot of things to go our way as Browns fans. It's been bad, to say the very least. So with that, let's kind of start diving into some of these games. We'll start with this Browns game. Browns out in Vegas, afternoon game today. Line moved a lot this week. Browns were down. Browns now favored. A lot of injuries. Nick, what is your take right now with what we're seeing with the Browns? Evo brought it up last week on the show. You've been catching a lot of heat for some of the things that you've been saying. So where are you at on the Browns as a whole? And then we'll start diving into some of our bets because this line has moved so much.
I think the Browns as a whole are just really underperforming to the talent level that they have. And I don't think we overvalued what we have on the team because we saw them last year overcome so many injuries, make the playoffs, clinch before the season was even over, win with 4 different quarterbacks. It really just didn't seem to matter. And yeah, you saw some of the effects. The run game really has not been effective since Nick Chubb went down in week 2 of last year. So, I mean, it wasn't perfect, right? But we saw a team that had the most salary cap on IR just continue to find ways to win. And you look at who they've lost to so far, and it's like Dallas last week was just getting their doors blown off by the Ravens. They made that game close at the end. And then you look at this the battle that the Giants and Cowboys just had, and you're saying, are either of these teams really that good? And I don't think the answer is yes. And so right. And so you look at the team that's spending the most money in the sport, the most expensive offense, and you haven't scored 20 points yet this year. And disappointing to say the least. It feels like it should be so much better. And I think you look back at last year and concretely say this can be and should be a lot better than it is.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. But before I start taking over, Evo, I wanted to let you hop in here, man. You're the one that brought this up. So are you seeing the same things that Nick is seeing? You're not a Browns fan. You are a Vikings fan. So outside perspective, what are you getting? And is he, taking so much heat for no fucking reason? Because I got to tell you, from my side as a Browns fan, I'm in agreement with Nick. I've been very critical of everybody on the offensive side of the ball, especially Deshaun Watson. With all that money and all the picks that were given up, there's going to be a huge responsibility there.
Yeah, that's when I saw, I'm not much of a X person, Twitter person, trying to increase that presence. But I saw the heat that Nick was taking, and I was like, from my outside perspective, looking at the Browns objectively, I'm coming up with the same conclusions. And I think that you're catching a lot of heat for saying the things that people don't want to come to terms with yet. And I get that when you're a diehard fan of a team, you want to lean into the good things and kind of push off the bad things. But at some point in time, we have to be realistic with the situation. Like Deshaun does not look like who he used to be with Houston. even if he's like a shell of that, it doesn't look at all like what you would want from a full-time starting quarterback in the NFL. If you take the contract out of, the picture and you just look at performance on the field, this is a guy who could easily be replaced or is playing backup level quality football right now. And if you don't look at the name tape on the back of the jersey and you don't look at the contract and the trade value of what was given up, like he's just not performing. So it's understandable to be hypercritical. My Vikings were and our fans were always very critical of Kirk because of the contract and stuff like that. And he was still performing relatively well. And it's not unfair to be critical of the situation. We want our teams to be the best that they can be, do the best. And that, comes down to roster construction. And yes, the financials obviously play a big part. And I think that's where it's like when you look at Deshaun Watson, how much money he's commanding, it's difficult to build a good roster around him when you're devoting that much money. Now, obviously, your guys' defense is fantastic, but we've seen the offense start to become eroded. That offensive line has very quickly eroded. Nick Chubb going down, the run game kind of degraded because of that as well. But
evaporated.
It's tough to have a run game when you don't have an offensive line, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. But you don't hear these sorts of excuses for top tier quarterbacks like your Josh Allen's, your Patrick Mahomes, other guys that are commanding big contracts because they're able to elevate and lift their team up. And I think that you guys, the Browns, took that swing at a home run ball and you kind of whiffed on it, hoping that Deshaun could be what he used to be. And I get that you got to take your shots, but at this point, acting like it's not his fault. And don't get me wrong, there's obviously other things that are wrong in the team, but when you're paying a guy that much, it is his fault whether or not it's his play on the field or not. It comes down to roster construction as well, not being able to reload assets when things like the offensive line starts to degrade and whatnot. So that's like your takes that you've had. I'm in complete agreement with. Like, we'll call good plays, but we also have to call bad plays, bad plays. You know, when you're not seeing the product on the field, it's not a problem to call that out and be a realist to the situation.
Well, people have asked when there's so many other things wrong with the Browns, and right, the offensive line, there's a lack of run game,
Shambles,
penalties,
terrible.
Right, lots of problems across the board, and I can totally acknowledge that. But people have asked, when there's so many other problems, why are you putting so much focus on Deshaun Watson? And it's because of the trade cost. The team, when the team gives up 6 picks, including 3 first-round picks, they're telling you that this guy is more valuable to them than those 6 picks. And that, whenever you're giving up 3 years of your best pick, that guy has to be a franchise elevator. He has to be, because you're giving up the ability to get those premium guys that can come in and more likely than not, be that type of player. And so to me, I just look at it and I'm saying, between what you paid him, you're limiting what you can go out and get salary wise. And I get it. We like to pretend the salary cap doesn't exist. And for, in a lot of ways, Andrew Berry's been great at managing that. But it still shapes the entire way you construct the rest of your roster, when this guy is who you're paying the most and this guy is what you've given up the most for. So when things are going wrong outside of Deshaun Watson, it's like that happens with every team. And the Browns are saying that this is supposed to be a guy that figures out solutions to those problems like an elite franchise quarterback does. And I just want to say, for comparison's sake, like, if instead of Deshaun Watson, the Browns had traded for Justin Fields and given up what the Steelers did, that comes with a completely different set of expectations than Deshaun
100%.
Watson, because the cost is so much lower. You're not paying him a premium salary. You didn't give up premium draft picks to get him. When both of those things are true, you have to perform well. That's just logic to me, because of the cost that the picks you no longer have.
That's a really good comparison too with Justin Fields. Like, what you guys, if you were able to flip-flop things right now and say take Justin Fields instead of having done that trade for Deshaun Watson, like, from the outside looking in, I'm slamming the table for that 100% all the time, especially with seeing how Justin Fields is playing right now. Like, your team seemed so much more set up to be a running team anyways, with Fields being more of a running quarterback. It seemed like that could be a perfect fit for you guys right now. Even like with the offensive line being bad, he's able to be mobile and move around and stuff like that. But the biggest thing is that you're not giving up all those picks, and you're probably overall in a better situation. Like, the other parlays to me is kind of like, again, Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, those guys, they elevate the entire offense, and that's kind of what you're hoping for with Deshaun and the picks and everything that you lost with that. But you look at other teams, like, there's other ways to go about having a competent roster. Brock Purdy out there with the 49ers, they're not paying him a ton right now. He is called a system quarterback by many and everything. I think we've seen that he can be very good. I like Brock Purdy a lot, but he's got a lot of great tools and weapons around him, and he's able to run a very good offense without having to be one of those top-end elite quarterbacks in the NFL. Sam Darnold's doing the same thing in Minnesota. Like, you're not having to pay him a ton, but he's got a lot of great weapons and good coaching around him, and they're able to see a really good product out there. And I think that's part of what we saw from this Browns team last year, where you're playing 4 different quarterbacks. It's not necessarily about the talent of the quarterback out there. It's the coaching, the scheming, and stuff like that. And now it's like you're starting to have to pay the piper a little bit with those picks not being there, not developing, not refreshing the roster, and then you don't have the cap room to help keep that roster refreshed as well.
So, Evo, you bring it up, and like the way that our offense is constructed now is, I'm not sure that it is constructed. The scheme doesn't seem much like we have any idea what it is that we're trying to do. And then when you go back and you think, hi, baby. Then when you go back and think about the picks, 3 first-round picks, right? You go back and project that out. Well, that's 2 tackles and an edge rusher opposite of Myles Garrett that are not on this team. And what do we really need some help with? Like our D line has been great. Our D line has been fantastic. The rotation has been phenomenal. But those 2 tackles, we love that, right? Then we're not spending money elsewhere on edge rushers. Okay, so like you can completely change the fabric of the way this team is constructed with those picks. And you know what? For all the great things that Andrew Berry's done, have all of his picks hit? No, not even close. We would like to say that we'd like to see him hit a lot more. But some of the things that he has done well is drafting those middle rounds. So there's additional 3 picks there. We're not getting middle round guys where Andrew Berry has done a really nice job of kind of figuring out, how to bring guys in. We can't see it, Josh. What's that say? Josh Allen is better than Patrick Mahomes, everybody. Everybody. By the way, the groom from yesterday, congratulations to my brother-in-law. He just got married yesterday.
Hey, congratulations.
They say congratulations, brother.
Thank you.
Hey, I like your sign. But we're losing a lot of talent in places that we desperately need it. Our offensive line is terrible right now. We got old, like fast, really fast. So you go back and you think, man, what could we have done? Was Baker going to get us over the hump? No. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. But what we gave up it doesn't make sense for the production that we're getting. We need to see a drastic improvement. I don't know if we're going to see it this year, though, man. Nick, I need you to convince me, make me feel positive that this is going to turn around. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but I was a little negative, and I might have created a little bit of a shitstorm on the internet for a while, screaming at Deshaun Watson.
Well, okay. So if we're saying that the units around Deshaun Watson are struggling, and we're looking for solutions to that problem, and we don't currently have anybody any other way, you're still looking at it and saying David Njoku is going to come back, Nick Chubb's going to come back. I think it was. It seems strategically placed that at 6 a.m. on the dot this morning, Adam Schefter tweets out the Browns are gonna open Nick Chubb's practice window. Like you're getting the people as they're waking up, as we're getting headed into game day. So maybe you get a little bit more of that good energy going. So I look at that and I say, especially because offense is the problem, right? And so you're getting 2 of your most dynamic playmakers back. Now. There's a question about what Nick Chubb's going to be, how long it's going to take him to ramp up, all of that stuff. I get it. But sometimes, like we saw Nick Chubb lifting without a brace less than a year after surgery.
Right.
I think if anybody could come back in a strong way and overcome 2 devastating knee injuries to the same knee, it's Nick. I keep thinking about David Njoku's breakout last year, and of course he gets hurt week 1 this year. But those
on an illegal tackle,
right? And David blocks his ass off too. They've been like Akins is not the same blocker, no disrespect to him, but I look at it and I say, okay, so we know those 2 situations are going to dramatically improve, and that's certainly a key because people have brought up the offensive line and said, well, if they're not blocking well, what's Nick Chubb going to do? And it's like Nick Chubb has been overcoming poor offensive lines for a lot longer. It did get a lot better there for a little while for them, but before when Nick Chubb was drafted in 2018, right? And he was not drafted to a good team or a team with a good offensive line.
Terrible team.
Right.
Terrible team.
Right. And he did it then. He can still do it now. Those are probably my 2 biggest reasons for optimism. I certainly think the defense can continue to get better. They've mostly now it seems like Miles is going to be okay. Right. It seems like he is. And
seems like it. It makes me nervous. And Achilles, anytime we're talking Achilles, makes me super nervous because that changes a player's career trajectory or has the ability to. In ACLs, knees, we got a lot better at fixing those. So coming back from a knee, I feel like Nick's got a great shot. Achilles, the only guy who's come back from an Achilles that we know has been nearly as explosive as they used to be.
Nobody. I mean, Deontay Foreman had like an almost 1,000-yard season, but in general, like there's not a ton of guys that come back from like J.K. Dobbins, I guess, is an example of somebody that's finally finding his way.
J.K. Dobbins is a good example.
Yeah. Cam Akers in a much smaller role, like he.
Yeah, but is Cam Akers really
until he hurt? It's not the same sort of level. We're talking about, elite level guys here. The Achilles in general is a really tough one to come back from and be anywhere near what you used to be.
Yeah. So it makes me nervous for Miles. Now, if Miles says he can go, I believe it, because Miles is an absolute athletic freak. He knows his body better than anybody probably in the world. If he says he's good to go, he'll be good to go. I expect him to have a great day, especially because the offensive firepower for the Raiders is so depleted. So maybe we bounce back today. Let's talk about today's game. How do we feel about this game going in? Our offensive line is still in shambles. Zach Sinner jumps in for Wyatt Teller. Do we know who's playing tackle? Is Wyatt going out to left tackle again? Has that been announced? Because if it has, I am unaware of it.
I haven't seen anything yet, so I'm not sure exactly how they're going to tackle this situation. But I do know that on the other side of the ball, the Raiders are going to be missing Devontae Adams and Max Crosby. Also, I think their right tackle is out.
And Bowers. I believe Brock Bowers will also be out of this game. So they have no one on offense who can score any damn points for the Raiders. So this should be a win.
Yes, it has to be a win. I'm calling it a must win. Calling it a must win. You cannot be 1-3. You can't be 1-3. This is the softest part of your schedule throughout the year. I get week to week, the situation can change. Injuries happen. Team situations change dramatically. But you can't count on that. What you can count on is teams that you can look at and say, these are more winnable than what we have coming up. So to me, like 2-2 is not ideal, but it is far from a disaster scenario. You still have your whole season in your hands. So to me, it's a must win. You got to get to 500. Amari Cooper's comments and some of the other players' comments are uncharacteristic, and I feel like give us some insight into the locker room, and it doesn't seem like they're in a great place right now. So winning is the greatest cure for that. So I'm calling it a must win.
Okay, so Evo, what is the line today? Let's start breaking this down in terms of money so we can maybe win some people some money instead of costing people money, because 6-10 average is not going to fucking cut it, my man.
No, it's not. And real
Nick,
quick,
on our show, by the way, so in years past, 2 years prior, we included money line bets as allowed. This year we're going straight spread bets.
Okay.
And it's rough waters out here.
It has been a rough season for us, but hey, look, real quick, I want to thank everyone who's tuned in to watch Mike, Nick, and I talk about this game and in all of our games we're going to have in week 4. Got a lot of people jumping in. Thank you so much. If you could subscribe to the channel, check us out on our socials, and check Nick out on his socials. We're going to get to that here in a little bit, let him boost everything up. As far as our line today, the Browns are playing in Vegas. The line is currently Browns -2.5 at -115 odds, or if you want to give the points to Vegas, it's +2.5. Now, Vegas was able to get one on the Ravens a couple weeks ago. I feel like maybe the Ravens were kind of sleeping there a little bit. I don't know if we're going to see that same sort of production from Gardner Minshew today. The thing is that Browns are 3-11 in their last 14 as road favorites against the spread. That's a tough stat, but you brought up all the injuries that the Raiders have right now. That's a tough one to overlook. Also, Minshew's probably going to be put down in the dirt a lot, or the artificial turf, or whatever the fuck is out there. He was sacked 11 times so far this season. That's the 5th most of any quarterback in the league. And Myles Garrett, last game alone, 9 pressures. Like, he's still obviously that dominant game-wrecking force. Your guys' defense is really good. I was strongly considering giving the points to the Raiders just with the way things were going right now, but all those injuries and everything, you can't overlook that. I'm going to take the Browns, drop the points on this one.
All right, Browns -2.5 for Evo.
And this is currently according to FanDuel. We bounce all of our stuff off of FanDuel. We don't look for best lines and whatnot.
All right, so Nick, you go ahead and take us. You go, and then I will finish us up with the Browns on our pick here.
I'm calling it a must win, and I will say that they're going to get it done. They'll figure out a way. I'm taking the Browns -2.5. It's scary. It's honestly, they should win by a field goal. They should win by a field goal. So I'm going to say, if you're going to show us who you are and you want to make something out of the season, you got to beat this Raiders team today, and you got to do it by a field goal. So give me the Browns -2.5.
Browns -2.5. And Nick, I agree with you. Winning by a field goal. I think the Browns are going to do that. Huge defensive and special teams game. Field position is going to be greatly important. I understand Raiders don't have Max Crosby. We could maybe get right here, but the offensive line is depleted. We have no idea what that construction is going to look like. So we got to win on special teams. We have to win field possession. We got to figure out how to run the ball between the tackles. Give me more Deontay Foreman between the tackles, chew up some clock, give the defense a chance to rest instead of giving so many 3 and outs. We've put our defense in bad spots. I think the Browns get it done today, though. Earlier in the week, I was not there, but with all of the injuries to the Raiders, I can't. I have to believe that the Browns can get this done. Browns minus 2.5 for me as well.
And look, Karnes, like you said, kind of must-win game. I can't imagine that spirits are fantastic right now in Browns world, but if you guys were to drop this one, it's going to be a rough one, especially with all
Browns
those
Twitter
injuries.
will burn to the fucking ground if we lose today.
It will. It will. There's no other way to say it.
Yeah. There's like that is it. It will. There will be changes, movement of some kind if we drop to 1 and 3. It might be Ken Dorsey bites the bullet. It might be some hard conversations about Kevin Stefanski start getting real fucking loud if the play calling looks like shit. It could be the possibility that we don't see a lot of Deshaun. If we go down to a team that is completely bereft of offensive talent and we can't score enough to beat them with what is supposed to be one of the top defenses in the NFL, heads will roll.
Yep.
But
you have more talent. You have more talent than they do.
Yeah.
You have every reason to win. For whatever reason, the Raiders always beat the Browns. They've won, I think, like 4 or 5 straight.
I thought it was 4 straight. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you have to break that streak today. You have to break that streak. You have more talent. You have every reason to win.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move off the Browns. Nick, you got a little bit more time for us. Give us one more game.
Yeah.
And then we'll get a bet from it. You got a little bit of money out there today. Is there a game that you want to talk about? See where we're at as well. I mean, I know you already got money in. Hopefully we'll agree with you.
Okay. So if I'm going to be unhappy, I might as well make money off of it. So now there's no money lines here. So I'm going to just go ahead. I'm taking Pittsburgh minus 2.5 at the Colts. Colts, I don't know what they're doing on offense. I don't know what's going on with that team. They're very strange. They got beat by Malik Willis and Josh Jacobs running a gazillion times, and they just I can't remember who they just played. But they lost to them
Chargers.
too.
Oh wait, are we talking about the Colts?
Yeah, the Colts. I can't remember who they just played. They just
Doesn't
played
matter,
somebody
they
I felt like they should or could win. But regardless, I don't know what's going on with Anthony Richardson. They seem kind of out of sorts when they looked really promising last year. And the Steelers are 3-0. They just find a way. I feel like that they have the type of defense that can just force him into mistakes. I also bet a Steelers defensive touchdown today. If they're gonna be 4-0, I'm gonna make some money off of it, and that's where I'm at. I just think they're sound on offense. They're not flashy, and they play great defense. And I just think that's enough to overcome a struggling Anthony Richardson right now.
Yeah. So you know that somebody's going to clip this for sure and put it on the internet. But I agree. If you're going to fucking be miserable, make some money off of it.
Right.
I got to tell you, Evil, let's just roll right into the Steelers, Colts. I completely agree. I even have part of my Lineman Lounge parlay today, a prop on Anthony Richardson to throw a pick. He has been so inconsistent. Big play, sack, or a turnover. It doesn't matter. He is nowhere in the middle. He's not playing consistent football at all. I believe his completion percentage is right at 50 or maybe just under 50% still. This Steelers defense is probably the best defense in the league right now, especially statistically. So Anthony Richardson's definitely throwing a pick. The Steelers are doing a great job of utilizing the skill set that Justin Fields has. And I hate to say it, but like we buried Arthur Smith last year for not using his weapons, but he has a guy in a backfield with a couple of nice little pieces that really suits what he wants to do on offense. The Steelers are pretty fucking good, and it makes me mad. So I will also try to make money off of my misery and take the Steelers dropping the points.
And I absolutely agree that the Steelers have at least a very good defense. I'm not willing to say that they're top in the league, yes, statistically, but if we look at who they've been playing, They haven't been going up against the who's who in the NFL, and they're not going up against the who's who today either. Like they're going up against Anthony Richardson, who, like we've been saying, he's out in the schoolyard playing 500, just tossing it up to anyone who's deep down the field and not completing those intermediary passes like he needs to. It was enough for the Colts last week against the Bears to get the W, which the Bears, do have a pretty good defense. But at the end of the day, the way that this Steelers team has been playing, like they've been doing what they need to on offense with the tools that they have, and that defense has been pretty damn stout. I'm also going to be dropping the 2.5 points here for the Steelers because right now the odds are Steelers -2.5 at -114, or you can give some points to the Colts for -106 odds. I'm on board with what you're saying, Mike. Anthony Richardson throwing an interception. He's just kind of been loosey-goosey with the ball there. And look, at the end of the day, the Steelers, they have covered 6 straight games. That's the longest streak in the NFL against the spread. They've been doing good. And do I think the Steelers are a good team? Yes. Do I think they're as good as their record maybe suggests? Not necessarily, because, again, they haven't been playing against the top-tier talent in the NFL. But looking at this schedule for them, it's real easy through week 4 and beyond. Like we talked about this at our recap show on Monday, like we could be seeing a 7-0, 8-0 team here before they really start getting against some more powerhouse teams. So we're going to be dropping the points here with the Steelers. This still could be a lower scoring game, over under a 40.5 right now. I think that's right around where we could see it maxing out.
I'm on a podcast. Oh. All right, so we're all on Steelers -2.5. So I got the crowd all out here. So Nick, I don't want to take up too much of your time. You said you had to go a little early. So as you're getting out of here, man, tell us about what it is that you're doing. You got a great group of people that you work with. You are just hit over, was it 40,000 followers on X? Huge accomplishment. So congratulations on that. So tell us where people can, find you, talk to you, interact with the hopefully positive Nick Karnes. Will be more positive when the Browns start winning more.
I certainly try to be. I posted that clip of the Ravens comeback yesterday. Try to get the juju going in the right way, because I still think there's a chance that they figured it out. Kevin Stefanski, I try to keep in mind that sometimes they've looked really bad and they figured it out. They figured it out before, so I'm going to put my faith in the coach and the staff that they extended to figure this out now, despite the fact that it looks pretty dire. But I just want to say thank you to you both. This is a Lineman Lounge Stand account. I love what you guys do. I think it's awesome, and just to be here again is a privilege, and I don't take that lightly. So thank you for having me on. I'm a co-host of the Barking Brown Show. I work with Jacob Roach and Casey Kinnaman. They do all kinds of stuff at the OBR as well. They write their asses off. I just tweet, you do
a good job of it though, brother.
Hey, I love the Browns. I can't. The reason I started a Twitter account in the first place was because my friends got sick of me talking about the Browns, and I needed to find more people that wanted to talk more often. So I'm at Karnes 817. You can basically find me there every day. And but I would say if you're not following either of these fine gentlemen here, you definitely should. So thank you guys for having me on. Go Browns, but also go Vikings. That the Kevin O'Connell's cooking over there. Sam Darnold, man, saving my 16-team league that I've never won. I've been in that league this is my 10th year. I've never won it. And Sam Darnold is carrying me to fantasy glory right now. I'll tell you what.
Awesome.
So
hell yeah.
You never know who you're going to need, man.
Wasn't on the bingo card, but here we are.
Yeah. Oh, well, Nick, we appreciate you so much, man. It is an honor, pleasure as always. Can't wait to talk to you again. We'll see you on the Twitter sphere, and I'm sure that there will be plenty more times where we interact and have these conversations again. So thank you once again. We appreciate you very much.
Thank you. Take care. Go Lineman Lounge.
Go Lineman Lounge. All right. Karnes, Nick Karnes, everybody. Man, I love Karnes. He catches way too much shit on a daily basis. Everybody has an opinion, right? I have an opinion. You have an opinion. Nick has an opinion. Everybody's got one. Nobody's opinion is always going to be right, but sometimes they are. Sometimes your opinion is going to be fucking wrong. What we do as in this show is we try to bring a lot of different opinions. As a network, the No Sleeves Network, we try to bring a lot of different opinions. There are things that we talk about on this show, like you have ideas and I have ideas. We don't agree. we have different ideas on the talk, especially where that's a whole different dynamic where we include a lot of other things that are involved in our life. So to be able to, have Nick, and hopefully we can have some other people on as well. Having differences of opinions is great, but Nick has been catching a lot of shit. People even sent him some DMs that were unsavory, threatening him. So that shit's gotta stop. Like, it's so stupid. We're all having a good time, bullshitting, talking about football. And listen, our show, we are the most outlandish motherfuckers probably that you will watch. We will say damn near anything when it comes to the football because that's what we do. That's who we are. That's how we speak as veterans. And with that, I want to roll into the show. The rest of it, appreciate Nick Karnes for being here, man. And what a wild sphere that we all try to live in here.
We definitely wanted to get Nick on here because of a lot of the stuff that was coming his way on socials and everything. Because look, he's a good fucking dude. Like, good dude. He's passionate about the team. He knows his stuff. He's not like throwing out random like troll information out there just to get a rise. Like, he's passionate about the Browns and football just like we are. You don't have to agree with the takes and stuff like that, but leave it at that, man. Like, if you want to disagree. Absolutely. We love discourse, open discourse, and disagreements and stuff like that, because that opens up a conversation. And that's what this is all about, being able to have a conversation rather than sitting in echo chambers. And I know from my side, if I get into a Vikings echo chamber, like, we had people who were, Kirk, ride it till you die type thing. But look at the team now without him. Like, and those people are having to eat crow. Like, it is what it is. Like, call a spade a spade. If you have a difference in a, opinion, that's cool. Let's talk about it. Let's open up that discourse. That's what being a fan is about, wanting the best for your team. And we'll leave all the other bullshit out of it because it's unnecessary. But look, again, real quick, before we jump into the rest of these games, thank you everyone for tuning in right now. This is probably one of our largest viewerships going on right now. That's awesome. If you have the time, please take a second to like, share, and subscribe our channel. If you like the type of content that we're putting out, we would really appreciate the couple seconds that it's going to take to do that on whatever platform you're looking at. And then also, the show is being brought to you by the No Sleeves Network. We are a veteran-based podcast and multimedia entertainment network. You can find us by checking out this QR code here that we got up in the middle of the screen. We would really appreciate you checking out stuff. We got blogs, we got video game channels, we've got other podcasts that are more veteran oriented, that are just bullshitting, not about sports or anything like that. And we say some really wild and outlandish shit on there. So
we do.
Please go check it out. The one thing that we don't have available to us today here on the Lineman Lounge is the call line. Yes, that is down below. Normal weeks you can call in, but because Mike runs that call line and he is currently out in the middle of the country.
Hell yeah. Out here just living the good life. By the way, my hair is ridiculously fucking long, bro. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. It was kind of a mullet, but this is so long that it's outrageous. However, the flow, I feel like a cowboy, like a cowboy and hard as fuck today.
Yep. You're gonna replace Kevin Costner on the next season of Yellowstone out there.
Fucking Cole Hauser wishes he could.
Rip's younger brother.
Yeah.
All right,
brother. Let's hop into these games.
Let's start firing through these games because we got about an hour and 20 minutes or so till our early morning slate gets going. So we're gonna go to the Bengals at the Panthers. Panthers get a win last week, which is pretty damn awesome. Currently, the line for them is +5.5. So Bengals are expected to win this one, but now Trent Brown's out for the year. That defense for Cincy definitely looked out of sorts.
Shit.
So look, the Panthers with Dalton, we knew that there was going to be an uptick there. Can that uptick continue? I'm not so sure. Dalton, going against former teams, I believe, has faced them 4 times. He's 3-1 in those games. So not that that's necessarily going to tell you a whole lot, because different teams, different situations. But where are you going at in this one, Mike?
I'm praying for Andy Dalton to do the funniest thing of all time and go in there and beat the fuck out of the Bengals. I hope they win. I think they actually can win. Now, it does suck that they lose Adam Thielen, I believe, to the IR, but we'll see an uptick for Xavier Legette. So fantasy leagues, go look maybe Xavier Legette to add as a wide receiver 3 flex spot. Because Andy Dalton, I mean, he's a veteran guy. He's going to operate the offense. And that Bengals defense is fucking trash. They are terrible, dude. Like, so Andy Dalton is going to be able to move the ball. He threw for 3 bills and 3 tuds last week. You're telling me the Bengals defense is going to fucking stop him? No way. I'm taking the Panthers plus the points in a game that I think that they could fucking win.
Yeah, like that defense, as you know, we saw Cincy against Washington. Now, Jaden Daniels is obviously showing some good things and progressing really well, but that defense just wasn't able to hold anything. They were a complete sieve. You got Trey Hendrickson, who's good off the edge, Pratt at linebacker, but you don't really have like difference playmakers, and Hendrickson isn't going to be able to wreck the whole thing. That being said, that Cincy offense can be pretty damn dominant if they want to be, and that's the one thing that they did good last week was Burrow had a great stat line, 3 tuds. And so while I do want to take the Panthers here and thank them for giving me a W on a pick last week, I'm actually going to go ahead and lay the points on this one, minus 5.5. I don't feel great about it. I want to take the Panthers, but at the end of the day, that Panthers defense is still atrocious. And I feel like if you get a Jamar Chase starting to actually cook, if T. Higgins and Josevich starts continuing to get those touchdowns. I mean, he's 75% on touchdown throws there in the red zone, I believe, to Josevich. Like, they're going to be able to put up some points. And I don't know that Carolina is going to be able to match what Cincinnati can put up offensively. So I'm going to go and drop the points on this one. I don't feel great about it, but look, we've had issues with our betting.
This is week 4 of the Bengals. Week 4 of the Bengals. We should see an uptick.
We should.
Joe Burrow should get better. That's what happens every year. But will it happen this year?
Look, he just hopefully, and obviously we're doing the show right now, so we don't know what he's shown up to the stadium wearing. But as long as he doesn't look like he just raided Ellen DeGeneres' closet again, I mean, if that wasn't a lesbian, I don't know what is. Next game in line.
Let's do it.
Broncos at the Jets. Currently, the Jets are favored minus 7.5 points at minus 115 odds, or you can give 7.5 to the Broncos for minus 105 odds. Broncos go and get a win last week versus the Bucs in kind of surprising fashion there.
Yeah, actually, I brought it up during our Tuesday show. Baker Mayfield finds a way to fuck me again, just one last time because he couldn't come through last week. I'm sure it'll happen again. Let's not kid ourselves. But man, this game, the Broncos didn't really prove to me that they were very good last week. They played a Bucs defense that was depleted in the secondary. That found a way to get it done the week prior, but then have a letdown against the Broncos team that just they were not good. I don't think they're very good, man. I really don't. That 1 week, that offense didn't show explosiveness. The thing that made Sean Payton's offense fucking explosive were the playmakers and Drew Brees. Drew Brees was exceptional about finding holes in defenses. Bo Nix has to throw it at the line of scrimmage or within 5 yards of it. That's not creating holes. Their offensive line is not good enough to go ahead and create a ton of fucking space for him either. So I think the Jets win this game, but 7.5 is a lot for an NFL game. Aaron Rodgers is looking better. I'm going to go with the Jets. I got to go with the Jets. I got no fucking notes this week. I'm out here in bumfuck Ohio. It's beautiful as shit, by the way. I'll show you guys here in a second. But I got to go. Not Ohio. I'm sorry, Wyoming. Jesus Christ. It's been busy. I'm going with the Jets.
And that makes sense. Look, Aaron Rodgers definitely put up his best game of the season last week. He looked a lot better. He got outside of the pocket a little bit more, which is one of the things that makes him a better quarterback is his ability to scramble, move around. So I completely get that. This is, to me, a Nathaniel Hackett game. Can Nathaniel Hackett get his revenge on the team that ousted him? But the thing you got to remember is that Nathaniel Hackett is ungodly terrible at being an offensive coordinator, even worse at being a head coach. And the only reason he has a job is because of Aaron Rodgers, and because Aaron Rodgers is a narcissist who likes to control everything around him. And because of that, and I hate this again, I'm picking for my girls. I'm taking the Broncos plus 7.5. I could see the Jets completely trouncing them, but I don't like Bo Nix. I don't like Sean Payton, but I think I hate Nathaniel Hackett and Aaron Rodgers even more. And the Broncos were able to get on a high note last week, beating that Bucks team that I don't think that they had any business beating. So maybe they're able to ride that a little bit further into New York. I just don't know if New York is going to have the ability to blow them out. Look, we both are on Breece Hall having himself a good game in this one.
Yeah.
We'll get to that with our Lineman Lounge bets, the parlay. But I feel bad about it. I'm going to take the Broncos plus 7.5 here.
All right. Well, I mean, so listen, we got a couple games we're off here, but you brought up the Lineman Lounge parlays. Let's go ahead and pull those up. We've talked about a couple of the games already where we've got some things, and we both have one more that we're going to be talking about the same game. So I'm going Kyler Murray over 272.5 total yards. That's rushing and passing. Anthony Richardson, we talked about it, man. He is slinging the ball into fucking God knows where. And the Steelers defense is really good. That's a very opportunistic defense as well. I think he throws a pick today. And we both got big games from Breece Hall. I think that this Broncos team's not very good. Breece Hall over 101.5 total yards. That's rushing and receiving. You get plus 504 odds over on FanDuel with that. Evo, go ahead and talk yours, brother.
Yeah, so I'm going with Nico Collins, 80 plus receiving yards. He has hit this mark, I believe, every game this year. Same with all these players. They've hit all of these marks I have in my parlay this year. So we're looking at short-term historicals. Nico Collins going up against a Jacksonville Jaguars defense that has not been looking good. That whole team hasn't been looking good. But if you look back to the biggest passing attack that they really had to face in week 1 versus a Dolphins team with Tua, both Waddle and Tyreek were able to get over 100 yards. So that shows that just because they've got receiving talent there in Houston, Nico, Diggs, Dell, all those guys are going to be able to eat. So 80 plus receiving yards for Nico.
Yeah.
Breece Hall, anytime touchdown. I feel like he's obviously a huge piece of that offense. He's going to find a way to get in the end zone one way or the other. And then Kyler, I was almost going to do that over 272.5 total yards, but I was able to bump my odds up a little bit more by just doing the rushing part of it. Kyler's having a good year. So 40 plus rushing yards for Kyler Murray today gets you plus 564 odds.
There we go. And with that, Evo, we ready to roll it into the next game, brother?
Yeah, let's do it. All righty. Next game up, Saints and Falcons being played in Atlanta. You've got the Falcons being favored here, minus 2.5 points on FanDuel, minus 115 odds. You can give some points to the Saints, minus 105. It sounds like Kamara's going to be a go for this game, but are the Saints back down to earth, or did they just hit a little bit of a slump last week?
Well, do we think the Eagles' defense is very good? I mean, they've kind of proven
Jalen Carter's good. He wrecked that game.
Oh, yeah, Jalen Carter is very good. But, I mean, they've been so inconsistent that it's really hard to be like, yeah, you know. So I think the Saints are maybe going to come back down to earth. There was always going to have to be a regression to the mean, right? 40 points a game is not fucking happening by a Derek Carr-led offense. While Derek Carr is playing very well, that's not going to be the standard. There's no fucking way that's the standard. And the Falcons are actually getting better. Kirk is getting more into a rhythm. He's starting to find, guys that he likes, concepts that he likes within this offense. And I think that continues to build because we know Kirk Cousins is good enough to win week in, week out, put up stats, unless it's on fucking prime time or in the playoffs. It's a regular season game against the Saints. I think that Kirk Cousins can get this thing done. 1.5 points. That's basically the home field advantage. So I'm calling this basically a pick 'em. Give me the Falcons at home minus the 1.5.
It's 2.5 points right now.
For 2.5 right now.
Dropping
okay,
2.5.
So I still go 2.5. I got it at 1.5 earlier in the week. I'll still go Falcons minus 2.5.
Yep. Now, Falcons got one stolen away from them last week in bad non-call on a PI there. They would have probably beaten the Chiefs, who are considered, one of the top 3 teams in the NFL, at least, not just based off record, but historicals. And obviously they got Pat Mahomes. Falcons almost won last week. That being said, even though this is being played at home for the Falcons, it's a divisional game. The fans travel hardcore in that division. You're going to see a lot of Saints fans there in Atlanta. You also are looking at since 2015, Cousins is 35-17 against the spread, coming off a loss. So he's actually pretty good against the spread there. But the Saints are 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 games as road underdogs. I think the Saints are again, they're not what we saw the first 2 weeks, but they're still a good team. They're an aggressive team. Obviously, they were getting into it with the Eagles last week. Being a divisional game, I think this one's going to be close. So while I think the Falcons can and probably should win this one, I'm going to take the points for the Saints just because divisional game going to be close. And that Saints team, they're really ticky-tacky. They are a little bit dirty, and I don't know if the Falcons have that dirty in them. I expect to see a big day from Bijan as well.
What you talking about? They got that dirty bird, baby. You don't remember that?
That dirty bird is old as fuck.
Yeah, it is. I'm old as fuck, bro. That was also probably the whitest dirty bird that's ever happened. All right, what's the next game?
All right, next up, we have my Vikings going into Green Bay, rivalry game here versus the Packers. Jordan Love going to be starting in this one, apparently. Only 3 weeks removed off of that MCL injury.
Fucking crazy.
Green Bay is favored -2.5 points at -120 odds, or you can take my Vikings, give them 2.5 points at -102 odds. I'll let you give a chance to give your thoughts here before I get into this. From my perspective,
man, this game I thought would actually be fairly easy to pick, and then I heard that Jordan Love is coming back. I think they're actually going to be hampered on offense by bringing him back. Now, granted, I'm not there at practice. I don't know how he looks at practice every day, every week, but I saw the fucking knee. It looked bad. His mobility is going to be decreased. And you guys have been excellent about generating pressure. You don't have to blitz, but you do to generate pressure. Yeah, Lineman Lounge sticker. Ooh, man, I got all these people killing it back here. You guys don't have to blitz to generate pressure, but you do blitz because Flores is fucking crazy. He's going to generate some pressures today. And Jordan Love has not played a ton of NFL football. Brian Flores can really fuck him up. I think that's a huge possibility. I like the Vikings. Plus points, minus points. I don't give a shit what the line is. I got you money line. The Vikings win this game, but they're giving you points, right? 2.5?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Give me the Vikings 2.5 and that fucking hammer of the day, because Jordan Love is going to be hampered and not be able to move around a very clouded pocket today with the pressure that Flores is bringing.
And look, that's kind of where I'm at. Obviously, I'm a homer for my Vikings team, but the way that Flores' defense has been playing and pressuring, scheming up week to week against any team that they've been going up against. We saw week 1 against the Giants and thought, yeah, it's the Giants. They should have this sort of production. And then they do the same thing against the 49ers and the Texans, 2 teams that I think are going to be at the top of their respective conferences. And you have to start to believe hey, maybe this team is real, but especially on defense, they're the real deal. On offense, this is Sam Darnold's 4th game. This is that true litmus.
This is the week.
Is he actually being cured by KOC and that coaching staff? And is he just doing that well with all those pieces around him? Or is he going to kind of have that fall back to earth? I think that he's at least a league average quarterback, especially the way that he's been playing, and that will continue going forward. But I think there's going to be a big run day, especially for Aaron Jones. All right. Aaron Jones going back to Lambeau, first time not being with that team, talking about how he's going to do the Lambeau leap. If he scores a tud, he's going to find some Vikings fans. I love to hear that. Love to see that. I fully expect that he's going to have himself a big day and that Flores' defense is going to create some problems for Love, because I was of the same thought process. I with Malik Willis going in there, we know it's going to be a run heavy game and that they're going to try to do some RPOs and stuff like that to get some passing yards, but it was going to be very, very run heavy. With Jordan Love coming in, it brings up the opportunity for more passing, but I don't know that you want to do that. I think they have to kind of keep the same game plan that they have with Malik Willis. However, you're going to have a less mobile version of what Malik Willis could be out there. And they're going to have to really lean on that run. That's something the Vikings really haven't seen too much this year because we've gotten out to early leads playing ahead, and other teams have been having to pass a little bit more, play a little bit more into Brian Flores' hands. And we haven't had to face a hardcore rushing attack yet because just the way the game script has played out. if the Packers are able to get ahead, get a lead, or if they're able to really establish that run, it'll be interesting to see how Florida's defenses competes against that. But if we're putting Love back there having to drop back, if they're not quick passes, Flores is going to be getting pressure on him.
Yeah.
Love is not necessarily the best under pressure. We already know that he has some accuracy issues. Now, can he go out there and trust that knee? Like, it's a scary situation. If I was a Packers fan, I would be like, hey, we've been winning with Malik. Let's continue to try to ride this and keep our guy healthy that we think could take us into the playoffs. Let's keep Love on the bench at least for another week when you're going up against this style of defense that has got the most sacks in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I don't understand the thinking here of why they're bringing him back this week.
Yeah, it's a scary proposition if I'm a Green Bay fan to be putting him out there like that. But yeah, so for me, of course, I'd be taking my Vikings money line. I'd be taking them plus the points as well. Really excited to see this game. It could be closer because it's a divisional game, right? But if the Vikings are who they've been showing they have been the past 3 weeks, this one could be nasty as well. All right, next up, we have the Jaguars going to Houston. Houston trying to come back after a abysmal loss last week against my Vikings. They are favored minus 5.5 points, minus 115 odds on FanDuel, or you can give some points to the Jaguars for minus 105 odds. This Jaguars team is just looking completely defunct right now. Like,
they're terrible, dude.
The
Browns beat them. Fucking Browns gotta win, baby.
There's some talent on this team, but there's
a lot of talent.
It is not.
So I'm going to pop this up real quick from last comment. Tyler McCall, buddy of mine.
Jair Alexander talking his normal smack about Justin Jefferson. Jefferson saying, yeah, they all try to talk smack about me. I'm not going to worry about him. I love that shit.
Yeah. So I wanted to get that up in there real quick. Go ahead. Yeah. You were saying that this Jaguars team basically looks defunct. They look terrible.
We know
they have a ton of talent. No idea how to play together.
And Peterson and Balky not getting along. We know that's going on. How long, though, before Peterson kind of starts to lose reins on this team? Because, like, the way, again, they have talent, but they aren't playing with that talent like they should be. Lawrence, he's 1-7 against the spread in his last 8 games. We're going to continue with that stat because it just keeps getting worse. Like I said earlier, week 1, Jags played that Dolphins team and almost got a win. But they still were giving up over 100 yards to both Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. That defense is going to give up passing yards. And you've got CJ Stroud, who's going to be like, I want to come back after that last game and show that we still are the class of the AFC here. They're going to be slinging it around to Diggs, Dell, and Nico all over the place. I'm not sure if Mixon's going to be back this week, but
I don't think he is. I don't think it's going to matter either because they have so many other weapons. They have so many options. Even if God, who's their backup? I just saw him available this morning. I was perusing Akers. Yeah, Cam Akers. So we were just talking about him earlier, right? So Cam Akers has the potential to be explosive. He won't probably ever be that way again from the Achilles. But like Cam Akers, I really liked him coming out. So he's a guy that can come in, do some decent things, get some decent yards. We've seen him be a piece of an offense. And then you have a ton of receiving options. Because not only do you have Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, you also have a Dalton Schultz at tight end, who is probably wildly underutilized right now in this offense. CJ Stroud has not looked like world beater CJ Stroud of last year. Take some easy fucking completions and checkdowns to Dalton Schultz and get in a rhythm today and then just tear this team apart because the Jags are so fucking bad, dude.
Yeah. Well, look, at the end of the day, the Houston is playing at home. They're not going to have to deal with Minnesota's home field advantage, which caused them to have like 3 false starts and then another penalty, 4 in a row to basically push them out of field goal position. You're going to be dealing with that. Hopefully, Laramie Tunsil's not going to be having false start after false start after false start again, which, was pretty fucking terrible for him last year. I expect them to have that fixed and hammered out. Houston's going to move back towards what we expected them to be. So I'm going to be dropping the points here. That's an easy one for me. Like, I'm not trusting this Jaguars team right now at all. And I still love the Texans. So
5.5 currently, right?
Texans minus 5.5 on FanDuel.
Okay. I'm following suit, man. Texans minus 5.5. This is easy for me. The Jags team is in a really, really bad spot. You brought up, is Doug Peterson to blame, or is it like, because somebody has to start taking blame. Is it Doug Peterson or is it the guy they just paid $275 million to? Because Trevor Lawrence has looked like he is fucking seeing ghosts.
Yeah.
He looks awful.
Well, look, Doug Peterson had Carson Wentz back in the day, looked great, and then injuries and things go bad and starts seeing ghosts and never becomes what he once was. Is that the same thing that's happened with Lawrence?
Is it the injuries and the missed time? And is he not confident now that he's been banged up? Because Trevor Lawrence, basically from the moment that he stepped on the campus in Clemson, was the dude all the way up until he was drafted. And then when he was drafted, the team was bad, but that was Urban Meyer's fault. And I'll never be convinced that it was his fault. It was Urban Meyer's fault. And then started playing good football and got this team to the playoffs. Then he gets banged up. It could be a very similar trajectory that we see with that Carson Wentz thing. That's an excellent comparison you bring up, man.
Yep. All right. Next up in our Monday slate of games, we have the Rams going into Chicago. Bears favored in this one on FanDuel -3 at -115 odds, or you can give the points to the Rams for -105 odds. Rams coming off a big emotional comeback win last week out in LA. And then on the flip side, you've got Caleb Williams, who still didn't look great, but definitely put up much better numbers last week. Better fantasy numbers for sure if you were playing him as your starter. But in like a super flex or something like that, not a bad week to have Caleb Williams out there. Where do you got this one going, Mike?
All right, man. So I think the Bears are starting to figure some things out. What they need to do, in my opinion, is pull the reins on Caleb just a touch. He's trying to do too much still. Now, granted, stats look great. Let him get comfortable. I think that's the key to this game. The Rams obviously can still play football. Any team in the NFL can win on any week, but nobody expected this team to go out there and get a big win last week. I gotta lean the Bears, man. At home, I think the injuries at some point are gonna catch up to the Rams. Like 1 week is great, but you can't be that fucking hurt and consistently win in the NFL. It's almost impossible to do. Like the Browns were very lucky last year that we were able to pull that off and win with as many guys as we did. So I'm going Bears -2.5. I think the injuries will start to catch up. This is a Rams team that I understand knows how to deal with injuries, but it's been so bad. So
all right, so the line is -3 right now.
Now, damn it, man! I got these earlier, so I got Bears -2.5 earlier in the week. I will still drop Bears -3. Could see a push here. Very, very high push possibility here.
Yeah, high push possibility. Look, this Bears defense, I think that they're good. That being said, they lost one last week to the Colts, and I'm not super high on that Colts team. That Colts team is predicated on the run. Jonathan Taylor had himself a good game. The Rams have a good run game, but they also have the ability to pass. They do have Stafford, and while they are bereft of Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, they still have some guys out there that can receive the ball. I like what the Rams can do passing a little bit more. And McVay always finds a good way to scheme. We saw that last week. I'm going to take the Rams plus the points here. I don't necessarily like them to win, and I do like the progression that we're seeing from Caleb. But that offensive line for the Bears is ungodly terrible. Their running game, ungodly terrible. They have to figure that shit out. And so I'm going to go with the Rams in this one. Give them the points here. I'm going with a lot of underdogs this week.
All right, big unders play this week. Trying to switch up the mojo.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Next up, morning game. We got the Philadelphia Eagles going into Tampa. Right now, Eagles are favored in this one as the away team, a -1.5 points at -104 odds, or you can give Tampa, the home team, a 1.5 for -118 odds. Again, Tampa coming off of a sad loss last week versus that Broncos team. Seeing if they can get right in this one. The Eagles, on the other hand, a lot of offense last week versus the Saints, just very little end zone. There was basically 3 plays that resulted in anything big for the Eagles. You had a couple to Goddard, a big run from Saquon, and not a whole lot else, especially scoring wise. You think that the Eagles are going to be able to Take one here against the Bucks that knocked them out of the playoffs last
God, I don't know,
year.
man. I don't know. This Bucks team is still banged up. Jalen Hurts put up big yards, but this Eagles team is so fucking wildly inconsistent. And I kind of said at the start of the week, it paid off in game 1. If the home team was getting points, I was gonna take them, and I've done it with every game but one, and that's because I'm a fucking homer for the Browns. So I'm gonna go Bucks plus the 1.5. Eagles are not blowing anybody out. They're playing close games. This could be a 1-point game. Bucks
They're
at
down a
home.
lot of talent. I don't know if we have an update yet whether or not AJ Brown's going to be playing. I think Devonta Smith is out.
I haven't seen anything. Let me look.
AJ Brown, I know, was going to be a game time decision. It could be another big Goddard day for that Eagles team.
It could be a big Goddard day. I don't have anything yet here, so yeah, I'm sticking with. I'm going with the Bucks. Bucks plus the 1.5. I'm taking the points for the home team.
And look, I would like to do the same thing, but it's tough when you drop one to the Broncos last week.
Wasn't great.
No, fuck it. I'm going to be taking the Bucks plus the 1.5 as well. I like them to actually win this game outright at home. Hopefully Baker is able to have a bounce back game, and they're able to scheme
like
up
shit last week. So
Eagles team. Yeah, hopefully it's the injuries that make me question though. If AJ Brown's
injuries
out there,
in the secondary, man, difference. Are killer for the Bucks.
All right, AJ Brown and Devin White ruled out for Sunday's game versus Buccaneers as of 20 hours ago. So no AJ Brown, no Devonta Smith. So that makes me feel a little bit better about this Bucks.
So yeah, Bucks plus the 1.5 sounds way better.
Yep. All right. Next game up, we have the Patriots going into San Francisco versus the 49ers. Big spread for this one. Niners minus 10.5 points at minus 110 odds, or you can give those points to the Patriots for minus 110 as well. Debo expected to play. Kittle expected to play. You got Juwan Jennings, who had a huge week last week, obviously going to be playing. And a Patriots team that is still kind of that Patriots team, not the Patriots team of week 1 that beat the Bengals. But man, 10.5 points is a lot here.
Yeah, this is insane to me. The Patriots, I understand, got beat pretty handily last week. The score was probably a little closer than the game was. The 49ers are a very good team. I just can't. 10.5. I'm not dropping 10.5 because this 49ers team, for all the talent that they do have, or the guys that are banged up, they just have not played spectacular. They have lost games. They have given games away already this year. So to drop 10.5 points to me is absurd. I think the Patriots are better than we thought they were. We've kind of seen it a little bit. So 10.5 points, give me that shit. They lose by 2 scores. I still win. Like 10 points and I can still get a dub. Yeah, give me the fucking Patriots plus 10.5.
For this one, look, San Fran is kind of down bad right now. They're 1-2, expected to be one of the playoff and Super Bowl favorites here. Going to get up against a 49ers team that's not, a Patriots team that's not supposed to be very good. Look, hungry dog is going after the bone in this one. I'm going to drop the points. This is for you, Joe Rockstar. I hate big spreads. You know me. I hate big spreads. And that's easily one that the Patriots could cover. But I feel like out there in San Fran, they probably have had a lot of conversations about what the fuck is going on. We dropped 2 this year. We just lost 1 where we gave it up to this Rams team. Like, we can't be allowing this to happen. I think this is a get right game for the 49ers, and they are going to be aggressive with scoring those points. So I'm going to drop the 10.5 for the 49ers in this one.
All right. A lot of disagreements this week, my guy.
Yeah, we got to do something different. One of us has got to hit here. All right, moving on to our afternoon slate. We got Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commies going out to Arizona, down in my neck of the woods. Arizona favored -3.5 points and -105 odds, or you can get -115 odds if you want to give the points to the Commanders. Jaden Daniels, fantastic game last week. Looked really good, but keep in mind, he was going up against a dog shit defense there for the Bengals. On the flip side, Kyler Murray, I'd like to see a little bit more accuracy, but he's still having himself a good year. This is a Cardinals team that has some playmakers on it, and they are playing here at home, which makes sense why they'd be dropping the points. But I feel like these teams could be a little bit closer than that spread's even getting to. The hook scares me at 3.5 right now.
Yeah, and that's exactly what got me as well, man. I like the Cardinals. I like the way Kyler's playing. I think they're very good. I like the receiving options that are starting to really develop out there in Arizona. But Jaden Daniels is very good as well. We know this from the pre-draft process. He was my QB1 coming out. And he's kind of played like that. He's looked exceptional. This Cardinals defense, while I do think it's better than the Bengals defense, it's not very good. I don't know how many mistakes they're going to force Jaden Daniels into, because what he has done is really kind of take care of the ball. That's the biggest thing that he has done above all other rookie quarterbacks that we've seen, is he's taking care of the fucking ball. I with the hook, I gotta take the Commanders, and I think I probably win this thing by a hook. Like I'll win by a half a fucking point, because I don't know. I don't think the Commanders can probably beat the Cardinals, but do I think that Jaden Daniels in a very uplifted Commanders organization keeps this fucking thing close? Absolutely, because you know what happens when you realize that you finally found your guy? Everybody in the organization rallies around it. That Texans team from last year that we thought was going to fucking be better but not very good, they found their guy in CJ Stroud. And they rallied around and they did things that we did not expect. I could see the exact same shit happen from this Commanders team. So Commanders plus 3.5.
And look, a little disagreement there. You know, you say, can the Commanders beat the Cardinals? You're not so sure. I think they absolutely could go in there to Arizona.
All right, here we go.
Beat the Cardinals, but they're not going to today. I'm dropping the 3.5 points for the Cardinals on this one. Washington having to travel long distance for this game. This is a Cardinals team. I expect James Conner to have a bounce back game, have a good one. Kyler Murray's going to have a good game. I'm looking at this Cardinals team as the Cardinals team that faced the Bills in week 1, and we're actually pretty damn close to them. And look, Gardeck's going to have himself a good game. I think this is going to be a high scoring one. We're looking at an over under of 48.5 already, because both these teams don't have very good defenses. But what I do know that the Cardinals have is a lot of offensive weapons. Yeah, the Commanders have Jaden Daniels. Yes, they've got Scary Terry, and they've got Robinson at running back. But Eckler's not out there. Not that Eckler was providing a huge boost, but the Cardinals, they've got runners, they've got receivers. McBride, I believe, not playing in this one, but that means you're going to be seeing more to Michael Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr. I like this Cardinals offense to be explosive today. I'm going to drop the 3.5 in this one.
All right, minus 3.5 for the Cardinals for you. Let's roll to the next one, brother. We're getting close. We got time, I think.
We got 45 minutes. We're gonna fire through this. We're almost done with our afternoon slate. We got the Kansas City Chiefs going out to LA versus the Chargers, that Harbaugh-led Chargers team. Sounds like Justin Herbert is expected to play today, despite the injury. Currently, the Chiefs are favored -7.5 points, -105 odds, or you can give those points to the Chargers for -115 odds. Again, sounds like Herbert's going to be playing today. I actually kind of liked the idea of Heineke playing in this one, because he was expected to be the starter. And at that point, I don't know that the line actually moved that much. I was absolutely going to be looking at hammering that +7.5 for the Chargers with Heineke starting. But we have a Kansas City Chiefs team that barely won last week. A strong run game from the Chargers. You think that Kareem Hunt goes out there today for the Chiefs and has a big one?
I mean, I would like to see that Kareem go out there and have a successful day. I like Kareem. He will forever be I will forever be a fan of his for what he did here in Cleveland and around actually the entire community. He's from this area, from the Ohio area, not this area. I'm in fucking Wyoming. I don't know, man. Like I think he'll be a piece. This Chiefs offense is all just pieces now because we haven't seen Travis Kelce of old. Pacheco's fucking hurt. We get Kareem Hunt coming in. We got little pieces, but Pat Mahomes is so good and so efficient that that he makes it work, but not enough to win by fucking 7.5. This Chiefs team that perpetually doesn't cover when the spread's fucking 4.
Let me throw some stats at you here right now.
Okay, go ahead. Hit me.
As a 7+ point favorite, Mahomes is 16-21 against the spread. So bad, but not as terrible as we were expecting. That being said, Kansas City is 8-1 against the spread in their last 9 games, including playoff games. So they are kind of pushing off that narrative that they just don't cover. They haven't covered historically under Mahomes, but in recent times they have been covering more.
I'm still not there yet. I don't believe that this team is that much better than a lot of teams right now. Especially a Chargers team that's going to play defense and run the ball with Harbaugh. They're going to slow the game down. They're going to bring everything down. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Chargers plus the 7.5 points. Even if they lose by a touchdown. I mean, the hook saves here. So, yeah, Chargers plus 7.5.
Yeah, and I'm going the same route in this one. It's not just fade Mike week for me where I'm taking all opposites on you. I'm going to take the Chargers on this one. If Heineke gets in there because Herbert's leg is not doing well, I kind of even like this better. Not that I think Heineke is better than Herbert because I do really do. I like Herbert, but I think that Heineke's got he's the man of moxie. All right, like he finds a way to make things happen. And I don't know if the Chiefs are necessarily prepared for that as much as they are with a Herbert out there. So I'm going to be taking the Chargers in this one. I think it will be a little bit of a closer game, closer than it should be with how much better the Chiefs should be over the Chargers. But then again, look, the Chiefs haven't blown anyone out this year. They still haven't impressed me. I do think that we are going to see a big game, though, specifically from Rashee Rice. And could this be a breakout game for Kelce, who has been pedestrian so far this year? Possibly. But look, Rashee Rice leads the league right now in targets per route run, 33%. And he's taking out this Chargers secondary that is ranked in the bottom 10 versus wide receivers last season. They're not a whole lot different this year, despite having new coaching. And they are without Derwin James back there, who's on a 1-game suspension. So I'm going to take the Chargers plus the points in this one. Expect the Chiefs to win, but for it to be closer than that touchdown and a hook. All right. Next up, we have one of our more fun games. One of them that I know Mike and I both are looking forward towards watching. Ravens, Bills in Baltimore. Ravens are currently favored -2.5 at -115 odds. Bills -105 odds if you want to give them the points there. How are you feeling about this one, Mike?
This was one of the easier games for me to pick. Listen, I know Lamar Jackson is phenomenal. He is an MVP, multi-time MVP. He is an absolute fucking stud in this league. But right now, is there a quarterback in the league that I want playing for my team more than Josh fucking Allen?
I would consider Tyler Huntley out there in Miami, but we'll see Huntley action over.
No, there's no way. Josh Allen is outperforming every other quarterback in the league. He's doing it with his arm. He's doing it with his legs. He is that team's offense. He makes everything go. He's a fucking superhuman. And he is from the college located in the beautiful state of Wyoming. He's not actually from here. It would have been dope if he was. But he played over in Laramie. He's been phenomenal. I see Joe Roxer. I'm going to pop this comment up. Who else would I want playing? Out here for his boy, Brock Purdy. Of course, Brock has played well. I don't think he's played better than Josh Allen, though. He's playing the best football in the NFL right now. They don't need a star. They don't need a Stephon Diggs. They are doing it the Chiefs way. They are finding pieces, and Josh Allen is just fucking dissecting people. This Bills team is really good. The fact that they have so many rotational pass rushers that Von Miller doesn't start is absurd. This team is so good. They could be the best team in the AFC. I don't believe Von's starting. I believe he's coming in as a rotational guy at this point. It's dude, they're so good. The Bills are insane. I know that the people here, we also had some people on Twitter, I'm sorry, X, want us to talk more about the Bills. This Bills team might be the best team in the NFL right now. They're playing excellent defense.
They are the best team in the NFL to me.
Yeah.
Easily the best team in the AFC. They've been the one that's been beating teams in the most commanding fashion. And I think we're both on the same thought process here today. We're going to take the Bills plus the points despite the fact that they are away here. Ravens are a good team, but if this game is close going into the fourth quarter, expect a blowout to fucking happen because we know that Ravens team terrible in the fourth quarter. But getting back to Josh Allen, he could have a pretty fucking spectacular day. He's had a spectacular year so far, but the Ravens right now are allowing the most passing yards at 291.7 yards per game and the sixth most yards per pass attempt. Josh Allen right now on FanDuel, the over-under for passing yards, 231.5. That seems like an easy slam, the over on that one. Especially if this game starts to get out of hand at all, where they're having to put up big scores against one another, you're going to be seeing Josh sling the ball around there. So look, big game for Josh today. This is obviously a big game for the AFC. Ravens should be embarrassed by their fourth quarter performances, allowing the Cowboys of all people to get back into the game with them last week after pretty much commanding that whole game. Again, look, if this game gets to the fourth quarter and we're anywhere close, the Bills are going to absolutely take over. But I expect them to be good through the whole game. I'm taking the 2.5 for the Bills, and everyone seems to be in agreement with us. We got 72% of the bets, 66% of the money on Buffalo against the spread in this one.
Yeah, it's Buffalo all day. Josh Allen could have been a Brown, is not.
Yep. Now I will say this. I will say this because Lamar has been, well, I'm not even going to get into that.
Lamar's been average this year. I mean, he's been better than average. I take that back. He's been better than average, but he has not been MVP style Lamar. Lamar has missed way too many throws.
We'll see if they are able to corral their running game, kind of like they did against Dallas last week, and really feed the rock to Derrick Henry and get him going. Because that's the dangerous part of this offense is once you start to get an unchained Derrick Henry, then everything else completely opens up because you know how dominant Henry can be once he gets those 22 to 25 carries.
Yeah. Once he starts wearing on you, he'll beat you. He'll beat you up. But I just can't see anybody but the Bills. I think so. We're getting. Are we going into Monday night now?
We are going into Sunday night, I believe. We got
Sunday night.
Yeah, because we got 2 Monday night games again this week.
Yeah,
that's fun.
Stupid, man.
It's interesting choice. But Sunday
I got
night,
one more beer, and it's a Coors, and these suck. But I look like a cowboy, so I have to drink it.
Yeah, well, it's made with Rocky Mountain water.
Rocky Mountain water. It tastes like
a piss. Next up, we got the Tennessee Titans versus the Miami Dolphins in Miami. Again, Snoop Huntley expected to start this game.
Yeah.
And the Dolphins are favored minus 2.5 points because of that. On the other hand, you have Will Levis, aka Unchained Jay Cutler, out there starting for the Tennessee Titans. Titans probably should be 3-0 this year if it isn't for fucking Levis on his own. Then again, the Titans, with the strongest part of their team being the defense, kind of got absolutely run over by the Packers in an embarrassing fashion. And they should be embarrassed by that. But if you want to give the Titans that 2.5 points is minus 105 odds, or you can drop them for the Dolphins at minus 115.
So what I have on my bet is the Titans plus the points. But Tyler Huntley does change the dynamics of that offense for the Dolphins. He will stretch the field.
Pro Bowler.
He will.
Pro Bowler Tyler Huntley. Respect on the name.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. He's going to provide more of a threat than we saw in Skyler, or who was the other guy who even played? I don't even remember who it was.
Don't know. Don't remember.
Exactly. So he's going to provide a little bit of an uplift. I think that the Dolphins will be better. I don't know if they're that good though. obviously the offense has put their defense in terrible spots. I had Titans plus 1.5 earlier in the week. And at some point, Will Levis is going to not do something stupid, though, right? Like maybe at some point, Will Levis is not going to do something stupid. Like the possibility is not zero, right? Or because unhinged Jay Cutler is exactly what we're seeing on a week in, week out basis. It's absurd. And I don't know how
he needs to stop trying to do hero plays. If
he's
he
not
doesn't,
a hero.
he needs to not do the hero plays until he becomes a better player overall, and then you can start to add some hero plays in if you need to. But we're not at that point right now.
Not even close. But I am going to take the Titans plus the points because I'm getting an extra one than what I got earlier in the week. I know that Huntley will improve that offense, but the Dolphins their team is like, there is an air around that team right now that's not great. And it sucks because it's nobody's fault. You lose your franchise guy that really just kind of set your franchise back a long ways. Nobody's probably in high spirits. That shit matters. As much as we want to say just shut the fuck up and go play, that shit matters sometimes, right? So I cannot get behind the Dolphins just yet. If Tyler Huntley goes out there and proves me wrong, great. But I'm gonna go with the Titans, a team that, they are at least consistent with Will Levis making fucking moron decisions to ruin games. They could be 3-0 if it weren't for his stupid decisions. I'm going to take them. So Titans plus 2.5.
Yeah, I'm also going to take the Titans plus 2.5 in this one. I think Tyler Huntley could bring a big uplift to this team. We've seen him be a competent quarterback at being able to run offenses out there, at least with Baltimore. Mike McDaniel's scheme, West Coast scheme, coming from the Shanahan tree, it is relatively friendly to quarterbacks, at least quarterbacks who have a certain level of ability in this league. And when you have some elite weapons out there, like Waddle, like Tyreek Hill, you can do some good things, but I need to see it for a week first before I'm going to go dropping 2.5 points. So with that, I'm going to take the Titans plus the points in this one.
All right. And then moving into Monday night.
All righty. We've got the Seahawks going into Detroit. Detroit Lions minus 3.5 at minus 120 odds. Seahawks minus 102 odds to give them the points in this one.
Yeah, so the Seahawks team is good. This Lions team is better. Lions at home drop 3.5. I think that makes sense. I'm on the Lions. I like the way they got the run game going. The Seahawks team is they're a good team, but there's nothing that wows me. Charbonnet has been a really nice reprieve for Kenneth Walker. They did a great job of drafting a replacement running back for a guy that is very talented in Kenneth Walker, but is perpetually hurt. Charbonnet has been great for them. I'm leaning the home team. I'm really, really high on the Lions this year, man. Even though they lose a game to the Bucs that they absolutely fucking should not have based on what we've seen. I like the Lions at home. 3.5 is a lot, but I'm going to drop them. I'm going to do Lions minus 3.5.
Yeah, this is one of the tougher ones for me just because look, the Seahawks have been playing really good. They're obviously 3-0, but I haven't seen who this team is yet. Kind of like how last week and in the week prior, I needed to see good games from my Vikings to know that they were kind of legit. I haven't seen that completely yet from the Seahawks. They've been playing good ball, but I'm not so sure yet if that's truly who they are. I need them to go up and put up at least a good game against the Detroit Lions, which makes the 3 plus the hook kind of intriguing to me here because I think that they have that potential. But the Lions are undefeated against the spread in their last 7 primetime games. So for this one, I'm actually going to go with the Seahawks on it. I'm going to give the Seahawks the points. Be a little contrarian in this one. I like Detroit in this game, but I could see that being closer if Seattle actually is the team that they've kind of been showing that they are. And that hook kind of gives me a little bit of pause, makes me think maybe they got it.
All right. That
All right.
was the last game, right?
That
We
is
got
the
one more.
game this week.
That was
Yeah.
the last one.
For what it's worth, FanDuel's date and time ranges are completely fucked because they don't have but one Monday night game on here. But in reality, we have two Monday night games. The Titans and Dolphins are Monday night. Seahawks, Lions are Monday night. And our Sunday night game is that Bills Ravens game.
All right. Well, gosh, what a great show. Shout out Nick Karnes, man, for coming on, helping us out to start the show. Got us talking Browns, got us talking Steelers into the bets. Very appreciative of him and Evo, of you, man. I cannot thank you enough. Obviously, I am not at home. I don't have all the things around me. You kind of leading the way. I appreciate that very much. Yeehaw, brother. Yeehaw.
Yeehaw towards the end of the show.
Yeah. But are we ready to wrap this thing up and get the hell out of here?
Yes, sir. Look, we're gonna throw up one more time our Lineman Lounge parlay here, if I can get it to produce itself real quick. There we go.
There it is.
We got our Lineman Lounge parlays. If you want to bet along with us, I got my bet in already at plus 564 odds, plus a little boost, thanks to FanDuel today.
Nice.
And if you want to jump bet along with us, if you're not wanting to bet every single one of these against the spread bets, you don't have to. You could just follow along with one of these two bets right here. Seems like some pretty good ones this week. We haven't had great success with these Lineman Lounge parlays either.
I've been so close. The Colts have fucked me. And then I don't remember who fucked me last week. I'm gonna get one of these. I've been super, super close, except for week 2. Week 2, I fucking sucked.
Yeah. But look, we really appreciate everyone jumping in here today.
Hell yeah.
This is a huge viewership for us. We really appreciate that. Can't thank you enough. So by all means, if you can, subscribe to any of our channels or socials, help us grow our brand a little bit. It's only going to take a couple seconds out of your day, and that's it. We really appreciate it. And if you want to check out our content over at the No Sleeves Network, you can check out this QR code here. It'll take you to our website where you can see all of our content and other content producers that we have out there working with us. So we really appreciate everyone stopping in today. And hopefully you're ready for some football here in about 26, 27 minutes.
Hell yeah, brother. Man, everybody who is in here, thank you so much. Everybody who rocks with us week in, week out. If you're brand new, I don't really care, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. Time is the most valuable thing that you have. And anytime that you give some of it to us, we are forever grateful. This is the Lineman Lounge. I'm Mike. That is Evo. If you want to interact with our show, you can go to any one of the places below. You got X, Facebook, TikTok, the call line not open today, and also the very, very important YouTube. Please head on over there and subscribe. We try to be as active on the socials as possible. We want to interact with you guys because you are what make us able to do this. We thank you very much. We will be back on Tuesday to recap what happened this week. See if we fucked that up again, or if we're getting better at this. If we're getting better at these picks against
I feel like one of us has to hit this.
Yeah, we had a lot of contrarian picks this week, so somebody better figure it the fuck out. But guys, thank you so much. I'm Mike. That's Evo. This is the Lineman Lounge, and we are getting the fuck out of here. Enjoy your Sunday of football, but see ya.
Skol Vikings.